Welcome to the video of the 5th American turn of my solo playthrough of Axis and Allies Revised. One of the things I did was to take Manila, which gives them a victory city. But it's still only 6-6 because the Axis, Germany, is still in possession of Leningrad, and the Allies are now in possession of Manila, so that kind of evens out. All the other cities are still in the original controller's hands. I probably will lose this transport in the next turn, but as I explained in my previous video, in this game of Axis and Allies, transports still do block enemy movement, so you can't just pass through them, which kind of protects the American fleet here. Of course, the Japanese could go after them, but the British have a huge air force as well. So those two forces combined, those two allied forces combined, if the Japanese, one by one, if one of them took them on single-handedly, that is either the Americans or the British, they would probably lose. But if the Japanese were, I would dare say, be foolish enough to take on the American fleet, then they will suffer casualties as well, and the British Air Force in India should be able to finish them off. So that is one thing that happened. As you can see, there is very little American infantry now at the moment, and they should have built some reinforcements, but they have actually all gone to the European theater of war, which I will show you shortly. Well, that's not entirely true, because some of them were placed in China. Now you may wonder, where do all the other units come from? Well, they mostly come from, I believe it was Persia, where the infantry was located. Some of them, at least. There were a couple of them already in China, and some other ones moved up 2 spaces, because again, I'm playing with all the optional rules, and one of the optional rules is that American infantry can move 2 spaces, motorized infantry. So they moved from Persia to China, Xiangqing, that is, so the western part of China. I believe along with the tank, one tank was already there. The bomber, I believe, started off in Caucasus, then bombed the factory here, caused 2 or 3 IPCs of damage, and flew back to Xiangqing. The fighter also flew over in non-combat from Caucasus. And I placed a few infantry there. One of them is, every turn, the free Chinese infantry, which is another optional rule. Again, I'm using all of them, and I believe they're really great. Much better than the national objectives in Anniversary Edition or Global, which to me kind of unbalanced the game. It's not like I found out about that myself, I have to admit. One guy's videos, whose videos I've been watching a lot lately, he's called The Good Captain. He can also be found on YouTube. And, he explained it very well, why those national objectives are actually, I'm not sure if you would call them broken, but they really favor the Axis in Anniversary Edition and in Global as well. And I believe these national advantages, which you have as optional rules in this game of Axis and Allies, just add a lot of flavor, and to me they do not seem unbalanced. I mean, each and every nation has got some that are really good and some that are, not that spectacular, but they certainly spice up play. Anyway, what else did the Americans do? Another fighter landed on this aircraft carrier over here. To transport, dropped off some more units in Northern Africa, from which they can threaten both Southern Europe and France. I guess on the next turn it really is high time that D-Day take place, so we'll see if it's actually going to happen. They built an aircraft carrier as well, with 2 planes on it and some infantry and a tank, I believe, in the United States themselves, in the eastern United States, and the Americans have a whopping 54 IPC at the moment. They did lose 2 due to yet another optional rule, which is, I believe it's called sub hunting or convoy hunting or something like that. And the Americans and British lose 1 IPC per German sub on the board, and at the moment there are 2 of them, so they lost 2 IPC. Otherwise, so they actually cashed 52 rather than 54, but that's still a lot, of course. And well, here are the victory cities, as you can see. Of course, Shanghai is really under Allied threat as well, and so are Paris and Rome. So if this continues, well, I mean, I suppose I could have finished the game already, but it's just fun to see what the Axis powers can still do. But Japan itself now only has 21 IPCs or something that it currently has in possession, and they're down to 20 on the national objective track. And well, and probably the Americans and English, British will really focus on Germany as well now. And of course, Russia is next, and who knows what they might be still able to do. It's not like Germany is really going to threaten Moscow anymore, not even Caucasus. So if the Russians do lose some forces while wearing down the Germans for the sake of the other allies, I guess, for winning the game, that's just fine. So that concludes turn 5 of the game. So let's move on to game turn number 6, and the Russians are up again first. Thank you for watching.